Unbelievable! Is that a zip drive on your disk?
Yes.
It's the one drive that stores, backs up, and lets you move all your stuff.
It's perfect for home stuff.
Or school stuff. And work stuff.
And it's so affordable.
Zucchini, anyone?
The zip drive from Iomega, because it's your stuff.
Let's go!
So the zip drive was released in 1994 and had a capacity initially of 100 megabytes on each disk, up to 250 and then finally 750. Of course you needed different zip drives to accommodate this. The zip drive was designed probably to replace a 3.5-inch floppy disk, but it didn't quite do that. Still, in my opinion, it was a technical achievement, and it kind of crossed the line between the floppy disk and of course the hard drive. It is because of this that the zip drive is still popular now, especially in retro computing. The zip drive came out in different flavours including IDE, ATAPI, USB 1 and 2.0, Parallel, Firewire and of course SCSI. Believe it or not, the zip drive is still used in avionics. Avionics, for the record, is the industry that designs electronics for the aviation industry. The zip drive could be used on a DOS PC, minimum 8186, Windows, some Linux, Solaris, OS2, and Mac and even Amiga OS 3.5. The advantage of the disks are obviously the large amount of data you can store on them, and they can, in some ways, function as a hard drive, although they're not really designed to install operating systems on. But for storing large amounts of data, and in retro computing, they're still pretty fantastic today. So I actually used mine to demonstrate the 8088 MPH demo. Remember this? Awesome. So let's go to the unboxing of my zip drive and take a look at some of the typical bits and bobs you got with it. Mine is the Parallel version, which I'm going to be used on mainly 8088 PCs and also on DOS machines that don't have IDE interfaces. So here is the box itself, the back side and the side, and round to the front. I got this from the United States and it's the starter kit and it's the Parallel port version. So this one actually comes with some discs, and even a set of car keys. So let's open her up and have a gander inside. Okie dokie, so we've got some cardboard inner packaging and an envelope here. It's always nice to get an envelope. Let's hope it's not a bill. And we've also got the power supply, and inside the carton we've got the actual drive itself. Quick look in the envelope, all the original bits and bobs, that's quite nice. Documentation, leaflets, things like that, and even here a strange little sticker pack. I think they overestimated the zeal and enthusiasm for this device, but very 90s in that sense. A lot of primary bold colours going on here. Let's have a look at the drive itself and the discs. So we've actually got a disk with utilities as well as some disks to hold data. The disk is rather like a floppy disk, a little bit heavier, slightly bigger, and the part that reveals the disk underneath actually goes horizontally. It's a weighty, beefy little disk, actually quite nice. Here we've got the Parallel cable. As I mentioned, this device does come in a number of flavours, but I've chosen for the Parallel for old PCs. Got a feeling this is mostly new. Not brand new old stock, but certainly seems to be very well looked after. So also we've got the power supply, which unfortunately is American, so I've had to source a alternative for that. Obviously American PSUs are 110 volts and I live in the United Kingdom where we use 240. So the drive itself is still nicely packaged, nice and light. Get rid of this a second. Let's have a look inside. Surprisingly light actually, these devices, or at least this model is. And comes in a lovely kind of rich navy blue. For some reason I left the sticker on the top of the little window, and you've got an eject button similar to a floppy drive in fact. And here we've got the power out and the pass through, so you can still use printers and so forth. It's got a very unique aesthetic, I think. Here we've got the power port connection. And it will go vertical or horizontal. As I just showed you. Pop that back in the wrapping a second, and let's have a look at some other bits and pieces. Okay, so we get this little cardboard box which looks like a box for a mug, and there's the plastic piece that's fallen off in transit. No biggie. Again, this looks like it's barely been used, if used at all. So I think I did well with this particular purchase. And now the discs themselves. And ironically it comes with a floppy disk to install the drivers. Something ironic about that, is there not? A device that replaces floppy drives needs a floppy drive. Anyhow, so we've got these discs in rather nice little plastic boxes, and they all come in different colours, at least in this particular case. This one is green, as you can see with your eyeballs. I believe they're all formatted or pre-formatted for DOS machines. Just a comparison of size, so the floppy is slightly smaller but not a lot, and you can see the different slide pieces that reveal the disc, so it's quite different in that respect. But other than that, they feel and look very similar. Floppy disk is a little bit thinner, but not a great deal. Here's another one which is red. So they did like to go for their primary bold colours with the zip drives. It's very 90s. Oh, and here we have a blue one. And finally, a yellow one. Nice little package overall. Probably a slightly later model that they tried to push a little bit with the discs and everything. They've made a nice complete package here. And there's another one of the original grey ones, and this one's got the utilities and copy software and things like that. Nothing too exciting though. Now, to use these zip drives in older machines, pre-Pentiums and well, not even just pre-Pentium, pre-286, you need a special piece of software. That piece of software is called ZipMan, and needs to be installed onto the boot disk, the boot floppy, if you're using it to replace a hard drive, which is what I'm going to do, and what I did in fact on the Commodore PC1 to get some of the software working. that I downloaded from the interwebs. And here's an overview shot of the discs on top of the boxes. So that was my overview of the ZIP 100. Comes highly recommended for those of you who are dicking around with old 286s or even 8088 machines, old laptops especially, like my Toshiba T1100 Plus has no IDE controller, so this comes as a bit of a godsend for those who want to get some software onto your machine and get it running. Thanks for watching. Retro Marky.